The Holy Grail of Eris, Volume 2 Review. Back in early 2022, I reviewed the first volume of The Holy Grail of Eris, which introduced us to protagonist Constance Grail Connie and the ghost of Scarlet Castiel. Together they investigate the case that led to Scarlet's execution that were hoping to take revenge on those who had a hand on her death. Now they stumble upon something called the Holy Grail of Eris. But who or what could it be? With Volume 2 in hand, let's see if we're any closer to the answers. Whatever, the Holy Grail of Eris is certainly dangerous, as Connie and Scarlet get closer to the truth. Connie's best friend is kidnapped and several other characters hold information to the evildoers don't want falling into the wrong hands. It quickly becomes apparent that the only people Connie can trust are Scarlet, her fiancé, Randolph, and Abigail O'Brien, who came to Connie's rescue earlier in the story. As Connie gets closer to the truth, it quickly becomes apparent that the World Kingdom is in danger. This is a much bigger threat than our protagonist and Scarlet first thoughts, and figuring out how to resolve it becomes even more complicated with the powerful hallucinogenic drug resurfacing and being used by the nobility. With this in circulation, it becomes more difficult for Connie to figure out what's connected to the drug ring and what's linked to the Holy Grail of Eris plot. Back when I reviewed Volume 1 of the Holy Grail of Eris, I criticized the book for feeling like it was part of a bigger world without a satisfying conclusion all of its own. Having now read Volume 2, I can say that the feeling I had been back then persists in this book. The problem is that this release feels distinctly like the middle of the story. If there was one novel as opposed to three, I suspect everything that happens here will firmly sit in the century of one book, sandwiched between the events of number 1 and no doubt completed in 3. The trouble is that while quite a lot happens in this book, it also feels like little of significance comes to pass. Yes, we learn Scarlet's backstory, as well as Randall's previous wife, Lily Orlamonde, but in the grand scheme of things, neither of these events leads this release to a conclusion. This is a small piece of a bigger picture, which is making it increasingly obvious that if you want to read this series, you'll be better off reading the 3 volumes. I would say that one of the things I struggled with this time around is remembering what had happened before as well as who the characters were, as there are a lot of people better between the past and present day events. There's a really helpful character profile page detailing some key facts, but it doesn't show until page 32, at which point I can have found yourself confused more than once. I wish it had been a story so far, sobering in the beginning, or at least the character profiles. It would be happy to get back up to the speed rather than having a flip drunk volume one to try and connect the dots. Another issue we had this time around is that it feels like Scarlet has a lot less to do. She does occasionally possesses Connie to get her out of a difficult situation, but otherwise, it feels that her role in the story is relegated to making snide comments about Randolph and occasionally pitching in with some useful information from the past. It's a shame really, as she's by far one of the best characters in the series. Second perhaps to Abigail, who appears to have a fascinating backstory that the author doesn't seem interested in fully exploring. With the end of the story inside of Volume 3, I'm hoping a lot of the problems I have here will be ironed out. After all, often the midpoint of a story winds up being less interesting as its exposition filled when it aims to connect the dots between the beginning and the end. If you're invested in the mystery so far, then this book certainly won't put you off continuing, which is perhaps the most important thing. As long as the series manages to stick the ending, most of the hiccups won't remain in our minds for long. The Holy Grail Alice Volume 2 comes to the West thanks to Yen Press and has continued to be translated by Winifred Bird. The translation reads well and promise to note. Volume 3 of the series is already available, and Volume 4, which appears to be an after-story side story, is scheduled for English release in October. Overall, while the second volume of the Holy Grail of Eris has a few issues concerning its narrative and structure, it's not enough to put off anyone who enjoyed the first book. The fate of the series and whether it will be memorable or not rests in Volume 3, which is certainly how I managed to deliver a satisfying conclusion. A reviewed copy from Yen Press was supplied by Diamond Book Distributors UK, 6 out of 10.